got hit over the head with the 2x4, and I went, oh, wait a minute, maybe this means something. And for quite a while, probably at that point, it had been close to 15 years, I really had been thinking about changing careers to become a psychotherapist. And I decided at that point in time it was time for me to do that, so I went back to school, got my master's degree in applied behavioral science, and started working as a psychotherapist. And then so I graduated 4 years ago, but if you add in my internship, I've been doing it for 5 years. But then, of course, over that 5 years, I've continued to grow and evolve too.
Sure.
And so now I've added into that, so I've got the certified coaching, the certified professional coach credential. I'm a licensed mental health counselor. I'm a certified happiness coach. And then I bring 55 years of life experience. And so that's kind of my background. So I'm not necessarily your typical person who has been doing this kind of a role for my entire life.
You know, and the people that I interview, you included, it's interesting to me how it's almost the same story with everybody, and myself included, of you have an interest, and then somewhere in life you end up doing something else, and if you're paying attention, a lot of people end up coming back to that original interest that they had when they were younger, that maybe at the time they didn't really know how to pursue it, and they went after something else. Maybe, you know, a lot of us go after the money, and we think when we're younger, we want something, we're going to make a lot of money. And at some point, you kind of come back around to wanting to go back to what you really believe in and what really lights you up. So it's a very common tale about what you're saying, how you started out and in computers and then going back to what really interested you from the beginning.
Yeah, and you know, I've thought about this a lot, partly because as I was going through the process of making the decision to make the change, but also because part of what I do now is help other people discover what their ideal career is. And so I've done a lot of thinking about how do we know and how do we figure that out. And it's interesting because I look back, and it's funny the things you remember, but I can remember in 8th or 9th grade, we did an aptitude test, and what mine said was that I should be a social worker. And so what did I end up doing? I ended up going and getting a 4-year degree in computer science. But then that also highlights part of why we don't choose the right thing for us when we're young. And for me, it was because of family expectations. And I never seriously considered being a social worker, and it wasn't a conscious choice. It was just that on some level I knew in my family that what was valued was science, you know, math, science, the hard sciences, and not the social sciences. And so I let that define me for a really long time, and I think that happens to a lot of us, and we have these really unconscious expectations or ideas that we're just not even aware of.
Yeah. I think when you're that young, too. I know with myself, I was one of those kids that recorded fake radio commercials into a cassette recorder just for fun.
Oh, funny.
Thought that was a fun thing to do. But I never thought of it as a career. So when I got out of high school, I had grown up on a farm. Everyone thought I was going to be a veterinarian. I thought I was going to be a veterinarian. Got out of high school, got into college, decided to go into radio, and my friends and family were like, what? You know, but I knew what I really enjoyed. So it is an interesting path, and hopefully any of your viewers out there will find what they truly have a passion in and not be someone who just accepts a 9-to-5 job that they don't like and they're working toward retirement, and that's their only goal is to work toward retirement so they can get out. You work so much of your life, why not make it something that really lights you up?
Oh, absolutely. Having made this change, and for me, I was 49 when I went back to school. You were very fortunate that you followed your heart from the beginning, and so, kudos to you. And that's much more unusual than it is normal in our society. But yeah, I mean, what are we waiting for, really? You know, the work towards retirement. And, you know, I'll just throw in here, that's one of, you know, the principles of happiness, is that we keep delaying our happiness, thinking that we have to earn it, that we don't deserve it unless we have worked hard or whatever, right?
Right.
And the reality is that we can actually choose happiness right now. We don't have to wait.
Well, it's too bad they don't offer a course in high school to teach you how to find your passion, or really think about where is your passion. And maybe, you know, the thing is too, at a young age, you might not have that yet. You may not even know what it is yet, but at least it would start to get you on the right track of really finding what is important to you. And I don't think they offer anything like that in high school. They didn't when I was in high school. They didn't.
No, me either, but that was a long time ago.
That was a very long time ago, too. You won't even get